Hello guys, and welcome to Titanfall 2. This is the open beta that just came out this weekend, and I've been playing a little bit of it. This gameplay that you're seeing right now is a gameplay taken from the tutorial mission, and I wanted to give my first impressions of Titanfall 2. It's going to sound a little obvious, I guess, because it reminds me so much of Titanfall 1. I expected in Titanfall 2 that they would change some core mechanics of the video game, but I was wrong. If you were to play Titanfall 2, it would feel like basically a DLC for the Titanfall 1 version. Now, that's not to say it's bad. There's going to be a lot of new features coming out in the actual game itself that are not in the game right now. The game being Titanfall 1. There's going to be a lot of features that are going to be coming in Titanfall 2, such as, for example, campaign, which I think is going to be a very big thing for the game. It's going to continue its life. And as the phrase is called, the Titanfall effect will not happen to Titanfall 2, hopefully. Now, with the game itself, I'm very excited to be able to play Titanfall 2. I'm excited to be able to have a fan base in this game because I loved Titanfall 1. I absolutely loved it. It was my first game of the Xbox One. It's actually why I bought the Xbox One in the first place, is to play Titanfall. The original Titanfall, that is. And so I'm very excited for the game. Now, what I will say, I will be honest about it, playing one or two matches or so, the game felt very similar to the first one, as I said it before. Some of the few new features, such as the grappling hook, help spice things up, but it does feel like a DLC to the game. It feels like an extension of Titanfall 1. In most games, this is a good thing. In Halo, for example, that's what you want. You want it to feel like core Halo. Call of Duty the same way. Past, like 4 Call of Duty games have looked almost exactly the same, but just had like 1 or 2 extra features, like, sliding or whatever. And sticking to the core basics, it sells. That's what makes the company money, is keeping core to the game and adding in some new fundamental features to the game. So from a business standpoint, it's smart to do that, because you don't want to change Titanfall radically and have it be something completely different. Does it look any better? In my opinion, no, it does not. Now, I'm not playing on the best monitor. I'm not playing on, like the top-end monitors or whatnot that you have. It feels the same. It looks the same. The sounds are good. I don't really know how to judge that either. So, in all those respects, I feel like it's really good. The connection, the way it feels, though, it is significantly better than Titanfall 1, at least in this beta. And what I mean by that is, in Titanfall 1, there would be a lot of staggering. There would be a lot of, what's the word for it? Rubber band effect is really the word that comes to mind. Whenever an enemy pilot is running around, they'll sometimes like bounce back and forth because of lag, and that did not happen in this beta, even when I was having like multiple devices on my internet. So that was pretty impressive, that they were able to have, I don't know if they just upgraded their servers or what would go into something like that. I'm not super knowledgeable about those types of things, but it did feel a lot better in that respect. And this, what you're seeing right now, is the tutorial mission. It's like a run-through of the actual game itself. Similar to like how in Modern Warfare 2 they had a trial run in the very beginning that you could repeat and get better at and whatnot. So that's what I was doing. I was just getting the feel of it. As you see, like all the shooting feels really crisp and stuff like it did in the first game. The LMGs do feel a little clunky, but I mean, it was meant to be that way. It wasn't like it was a design flaw. It was designed to feel clunky because, you're firing a big LMG as a, 120 pound, or as a woman would be like 120 pounds. If you were like the Spectre male, it'd be different, whatever. What I'm trying to get at is that it's going to feel better as a game. In general, it's just going to be a better game than Titanfall 1. Now, if you didn't like Titanfall 1 because, well, people wall running, you didn't like that, you wanted more of the boots on the ground rather than like Titans actually going around, then you're not going to like Titanfall 2. That's just the thing of it. And it doesn't try to become other games like Call of Duty is a perfect example. I don't believe that this game, Titanfall 2, is going to be trying to do that. It has a different look to it. It has, like, for example, all the women in the game are like really gritty and stuff. They're not like in other games where like women are like over sexualized and stuff like that. It's not. It doesn't look like that. Like, and I really do respect that in games that don't try to over sexualize women in it. And another cool thing that's the grappling hook, which is an item you can get. It actually changes what character you play as. If you get the grappling hook in multiplayer, which I'm not able to show it off right here, unfortunately, but the grappling hook will make you a Spectre. It'll make you a robot, which is something I hope it gets explained in the campaign. It wasn't really explained well in the first game, other than there was a implement brought out by the IMC to be able to have like elite soldiers on the battlefield, you know, to have running around and stuff, and be literally killing machines. So that'll be kind of cool if there's some backstory on it. I do want to say I'm very excited for the campaign. I cannot say that enough. Titanfall 1, I most likely will not have some gameplay on it, unfortunately, but it had the campaign on the top right of your screen as a little like a man or woman talking to you, telling you what's going on. The entire plot was in multiplayer. There was no individual single player. The story mode that did have was, again, a story driven by a webcam on the top right of your screen with a person talking to you, and then also having like actions, like a little cutscene in the match. But it was multiplayer matches. It wasn't even against bots. It was against actual people, which that's a cool mechanic, but it doesn't replace a story. It does not drive a story. It does not drive the game's lore or make people passionate about it. The only thing that makes people passionate about is people playing a shooter. So as far as story goes, I'm very excited for it. It could be bad. That's the thing, because we haven't really seen Respawn Entertainment drive a good story. Now, no story would be better than, you know, having a good story would be better than no story at all. That is for sure. But what we're going to see is we're going to see something that's a very multiplayer-based company working on a story mode. So we might have the same thing again, where we have someone just running around and playing in multiplayer matches with a, you know, dedicated story to it. Hoping that's not the case. Hoping it's just one person single player. I could be wrong on this information. I haven't really looked too much into it. So I've gone over the guns, I've gone over the pilots a little bit, and I've gone over only one of the items is a grappling hook that's come in. There are a few other items as well. One item I used was a throwing knife that actually located different enemies on the map, and that's a pretty bad idea. One thing I did notice in the beta, however, is that the game did feel a lot more based on your pilots than your actual Titans. In Titanfall 1, there was multiple classes and there were multiple weapons that you could choose to be more oriented towards enemy pilots or oriented towards enemy Titans. But in this game, at least in the beta here, there was a lot of weapons, like for example for the Titans, it was all based around enemy. One thing I did notice, however, is that the game felt a lot easier to use as a pilot. I remember it being pretty good at the game in Titanfall 1, and I felt really comfortable with the Titans in Titanfall 1, and maybe it's just not playing it as much, so it might be just my personal opinion, but the Titanfall 2 Titans felt a lot slower. They had a lot less boosts for them. For example, the Ogre class only had one boost, and the Strider class... Now, one thing there is a note about Titanfall 2 is that the Titans feel a lot harder to use, a lot less maneuverable. In Titanfall 1, there are 3 different classes. The biggest class being Ogre, which had more HP and did a little bit more damage, but also had only one boost slot, and that meant that you were less mobile. The second class was the Atlas class, which was a well-rounded face of Titanfall. If you saw the, wallpaper from Titanfall 1, you saw the Atlas class. It had 2 boosts, which means it was decently movable. It also had enough HP to be able to, stand toe-to-toe with any other classes. And then the fastest one was a Strider. It was extremely fast, both movement speed and in its boosts. And so you could zip around the map, but it could not go in a 1v1 fight with most other Titans. You would have to rely on tricks and strategy to be able to outplay your opponents. This being said, it's actually a little bit harder for your pilots to be able to take down Titans. There's a new system for taking down Titans when you rodeo them. It's by taking out these power cores from their backs. And you can actually take these power cores, you physically take it out with your hand, and then you can plant it in another friendly Titan to give them extra HP. And you can do this over and over again, and you can keep buffing up your allies, which is a pretty cool mechanic. But the problem with this is that you can't just rodeo an enemy Titan and just one-shot them. You can't just take them out instantly like you could in the other game. So it's going to be a little bit harder to be a pilot versus a Titan, because if you're using, for example, a weapon, typically you can't one-shot a Titan. So if you fire at them, you become a big target. You become priority number 1 against that Titan. And so they want to take you out as soon as possible. So it's going to be more of a priority to be pilots versus pilots and Titans versus Titans. Also, I find it a little bit harder to kill pilots in Titans, at least with the weapons in the beta. Of course, this is going to change. You're going to get your chain gun and your rail gun and other weapons that are going to be good against them. But I did feel a lot more vulnerable as a Titan, and I felt a lot more motivated to use teamwork because I couldn't just go solo another enemy Titan. I felt like, again, the word I'm using is vulnerable. What I really mean is I didn't feel as comfortable going in a 1v1 situation. Alright guys, so this is my ramble for Titanfall 2. If you enjoyed it, let me know. I'm going to film some more gameplay from the beta, hopefully to be able to put out some more videos in the next few weeks. And I'm also looking forward to release of Titanfall 2. A few closing thoughts. The Titanfall effect that happened in Titanfall 1, I really hope does not happen again for Titanfall 2. I hope the storyline and increased content, producing more DLC at a quicker rate after the release date, I hope those things help keep the game alive and help keep a player base going for a long time, because I really loved Titanfall 1, I really did. And I felt like it was not the best game ever made, definitely not the best shooter ever made, but it was unique in its ideas, and it had lots of fun mechanics in it. And I hope that continues for Titanfall 2, and I hope you guys enjoy playing it. Now, if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know, and if you want to see more Titanfall 2 gameplay, especially when it comes out, let me know in the comment section. And as always guys, stay classy.